And we are back with another incredible guest interview. Now, my friend Jasmine's about to bring the heat, and I am excited because it's one of our last interviews for the year. And this just gets me really excited because we're going to talk some trends, we're going to talk courses, we're going to talk all types of fun things, entrepreneurship, and all of these good things. And it's funny because we met at a conference. We didn't know each other. She was there. We met. I came to her booth, got to know her a little bit, had lunch with her, and I was like, she knows exactly what she's doing. She is the real deal. And so I'm really excited to bring her to the stage today and kind of talk to her about all these things that I think as we head into a new year, you can look at if you're an author or an aspiring author on how you can leverage courses and what you can learn for what's upcoming in the online business world. So let me give you a little bio in here and then we will get started. So Jasmine Jonte helps experts turn brain dumps into world-class programs. Her done-for-you course creation agency takes care of everything, from the big picture promise down to the last worksheet download. They're on a mission to make learning simple and fun for 10 million students while saving 100 plus hours for every course creator they partner with. Coupling her teaching experience with business savvy and management skills, you'll want her to do the heavy lifting when building or upgrading your online programs. Let's go. Give it up. Jasmine, welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. I feel like Jake, you're the ultimate hype man, but like I mean that in the best sense of the word. Like you actually believe in people, so the hype isn't like inauthentic in any way. And so many people say that about me. So I just feel like for the first time I've met like someone who brings the hype. Like I like to bring the hype. It's so good.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I appreciate you saying that. And, it's cool because look, I've never taken offense. Some people, I guess, take offense to different things, right? But like hype man, hype woman, hype person, like for me, that just expresses and exudes positivity in some way, shape, or form, right? Sure. Some people are like, oh, you're just hyping them up. Well, I'd rather hype somebody up than tear them down, even if it wasn't like actually authentic, right? But in this case,
Yeah.
we are being authentic, and everyone's going to see why I feel that way and why I express that and why I get so excited for you. So let's kick it off. Talk to me about why online courses. Like, there's a million things in the online business space. Courses are obviously at the forefront of a core offering for a lot of people. Why are courses your specialty?
Courses are my specialty because it takes everything I learned from teaching, right? So I taught in the lowest performing school in the country in Detroit, Michigan, and I learned how to make learning simple and fun for my students. And I think that courses are just such a beautiful way to do that in the online space in a way that doesn't require an expert's time. And because it doesn't require their time, it puts it at a lower price point, which makes it accessible to more people. Right. So I just really feel like I get to use my skills as a teacher and kind of combine it with what I know as a marketer and bring it together in this powerful learning experience that it's accessible for so many people. Right.
Yeah.
The impact is you can just reach so many more people.
Okay, so you mentioned teaching and breaking things down and simple. When did you make the shift from teaching to entrepreneurship?
6 to 7 years ago. 6 to 7 years ago.
And what made you want to make the shift? Like was there an inflection point of, hey, I'm done teaching, it's time to just start something and I'll figure it out? Or was it you were doing this on the side and then you were like, all right, we're making enough money, or I'm feeling confident enough in my abilities to generate future revenue? What was the shift that said, all right, I'm done?
It was a combination, right? Like, why do people do what they do? Well, to avoid pain and to gain pleasure. And teaching was very painful. I mean, like I love my kids. I love the imparting of knowledge that I got to do, and the actual 12-hour days working, just grinding to the bone to try and get results for these kids. Like it was exhausting. So the pain side was I hit deep, dark burnout. In any way you can hit deep, dark burnout, I hit it. And on the other side is this pleasure side. I was introduced to the idea of business. I didn't have anyone in my life who owned a business, no family members, no friends, family members. Like I literally, when I got started in business, I didn't have one person I knew who'd run a business ever. So this whole concept was completely new to me. And when I realized, oh, there's an opportunity for me to actually like not be in a job, I had to try, and I had no money. I was like, I had like barely my little bit of, $38,000 teacher salary, and I saved like a bit of it. And I was fortunate enough and privileged enough that my parents were like, yeah, come get started in our garage. And that's what I did.
That's amazing. And I'm gonna just go on record here and say that I think being a teacher is one of the most underappreciated jobs because it's so many more hours than just school, which is what a lot of people think. And I've spoken with a lot of educators, and I've spoken all over the country to high school leaders and college leaders and students and junior high and elementary school. And like, teachers are amazing. My mom was a professor at USC, so I just have the utmost respect for teachers. But that's exactly right. Like, there's a big difference between working these 12-hour days, having a job, a job, and then being able to all of a sudden take back all the control and having that freedom, but at the same time having the like, oh shit, like I do have all this time. There isn't money coming in just yet. I need to figure this out. So you mentioned you go to the garage, right? And your parents were like in support of this, which is amazing. But how did you figure out what to do? Because you didn't come from this background. So it wasn't like, okay, I'm quitting and I know where to go next. It was, oh my gosh, what do I do? So did you scrape up money and put money on a credit card to invest in a mentor? Or did you just start doing it on your own and get freebies and downloads? Like, what was your path to like figuring out that first step?
Well, books, of course.
I love that answer. I don't even need to respond to that answer because everyone knows I love that answer.
I mean, truly though, books. I actually, before I started doing courses, I was in a multi-level marketing company. I was not successful at it. I mean, I was kind of successful at it, but was not making a living wage at it. Okay, let's say that. And what did they do is like, they were like, you need to be reading personal development every day. That was part of their tenets of success. And so I was like, okay, great. And yeah, so I probably read like 100 books in that first year in business. I just like read because I didn't have money for, a big event or a mastermind or any of that. So I just read what I could and tried to surround myself with the right people. And eventually I left the MLM. I went into developing my own courses. Before I built them for other people, I built mine based on experiences that I had in my life. And then I went into building masterminds. And that was really the phase where I started to pick up mentors, go to personal development events, and invest in courses myself, but it took a little while. It took probably, I don't know, a year and a half.
Was there, you mentioned 100 books ish. Were there any books that, because we read that many books, right? Mm-hmm. Some books are just going to have more of a profound impact on you than others. Some are going to stick with you. Some are just going to be like, well, I'm glad I read it, but it's not, I don't resonate with that person, or it isn't the right person. But of those books, were there any books that really stood out to you that you were like, yep, this has become my focal point. I'm referring to this. I'm using it. What were some of those books?
The top one is Think and Grow Rich. Like I built masterminds around that book. It's literally falling apart. Like if you like the pages are out of the spine. I still have the copy and it's over there somewhere on my shelf. So absolutely, Think and Grow Rich was number one, numero uno. What really got my creative spark on was a book called Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert. So good, so solid. Just, I mean, Big Magic, the whole thing is magical. And that really just set that creative side of myself on fire. And then, there's some others along the way. Tony Robbins' work, always great. Unshakable, really good. Helped me figure out like finances and just like what is going on here. Cause we don't learn those things in school. So those are three that come to mind. There's so many more, but
have you ever, and I know we're kind of going like a sequential journey here, but we're going to get into some really good core stuff here in a second. Are any of those books that you just mentioned, or any of the books that you read, did you end up taking a next course of action from that author or from the companies that the author owns? So did you read the Tony Robbins and then sign up for a training with him and Dean? Or did you read Think and Grow Rich and then buy another book because of that? Like, was there any like patterns here that happened for you as you were trying to learn the skill set that started with reading the books?
Yeah, I think Think and Grow Rich, like I ended up building my own mastermind. I got connected to the Napoleon Hill Foundation. So much of my networking with people happened as a result of me posting, sharing about what that book was doing for my life and the story that came just from the results that I got from the book itself. So, I credit that book with a lot of my success, and not just because of what it teaches, but because I was able to share the content and connect with other people inside of that kind of like Think and Grow Rich community. So much happened for me. And yeah, with Tony's work, I ended up going to UPW. I've been to 20 Tony Robbins events now, a few years later. So, and then same thing, like getting connected to that community. And then I hired my mastermind mentor at an event that I met there. And like so many business partners and collaborations just came from that world. And it all starts with picking up, a book with this big guy with a big teeth on the front cover.
Yeah. Okay. I need to make like an announcement on this because this is literally everything. Okay. My new book that just came out, Big Idea to Bestseller. Okay. It's all about how to write a book to grow your business and make an impact. And I want to give an example from exactly what you're talking about. Because you read a Tony Robbins book, which is where you started, Easiest Investment, you then have gone on to spend money and hire people directly in relation to the Tony Robbins brand, okay? So from a reader standpoint, you were able to build your own, grow, and learn from that. From an author standpoint, indirectly, they have enabled thousands and thousands of dollars to go through their company or the partnerships company. Think and Grow Rich, same thing. You built your network. So when people say like a book, you don't have to be the only book somebody reads. You just have to be one of the books that makes an impact on them. And then the impact goes further than just that person. Word of mouth, you getting connected with the foundation, donating money, getting involved, masterminds, all of this stuff. So if you're listening here, the thing that I want you to take away so far is that the place people start is the book, right? And then when you apply good information from a book, it allows your superstardom to come through. And that's what's happened with you, is you started with these books not knowing anything. And then you've gone on to do some pretty ridiculously awesome things. And I think truthfully, like you haven't even hit your peak yet. Like you're still going, you know what I mean? And so now you tried a few businesses, you got them going, you did all these different things, you built your own courses. When did you shift to then saying, okay, I did it, it worked well, I need to teach now that, or I need to do that for others?
Yeah, it was actually during pandemic, and I had created 6, 7, 9 something programs, and I kept like creating new things and nothing was scaling. I was very confused. Why is nothing scaling? I bought scaling courses. I bought masterminds. I bought all these things. Let me just figure out how to scale. But freaking nothing was scaling, okay? And I listened to the intuition that said, just shut it all down and create space and see what happens. So that's what I did, dude. I fired all my team. I fired all my clients. I shut all my courses. I shut all my programs. And I was like, let's blow up the business. And I had no idea what was next.
Wait, time out.
Yeah.
How did you trust yourself? How did you, that's a big move to make. What was the gut feeling or the gut reaction that you were like, I need to do this, and like I can do this? Like what gave you that permission to do it all?
I just decided. Like it hit me sometime in like March or April. And then I was like, that's freaking crazy. Your mind gets in the way. I'm like, that's crazy, that's crazy, that's crazy. And by like July, things still weren't working. And it was kind of like, okay, well, it's either time to just cut it off and figure out something new, because I felt like I had doubled down on it enough. And it's this question we all have as entrepreneurs, right? Am I just 3 feet from gold? Or am I moving in the wrong freaking direction?
Yep.
And it was like, I had tried enough that I was like, I think I might just be moving in the wrong direction. Like, I just feel like something isn't aligned here. And, it's like if you've ever been through a breakup where you need to break up with the person, but you just kind of like hang on for too long. And then when you finally break up, you feel amazing. That was totally my experience. Like, once I shut everything down, I was like, I feel so much better. And like going through the stages of like telling the clients, I felt better. Telling the team, I felt better. Like it was hard conversations, but oh my gosh, I just felt so much better. And then I was like, okay, well, what's next? Now I have all this space and no more income coming in. Great. Okay. So what's next? And I called up some of my trusted friends, mentors, advisors, clients, and I was like, just listen, just brainstorm, mastermind with me. Like, I have all this space now. What do you think my zone of genius is? What do you want help with? How can I help you? And the recurring theme was like content, curriculum, help me build programs, help me build certifications, whatever, like the actual learning experiences for people. And I was so excited by that. And I didn't realize other people struggled with this, because I could build like 4 programs at a time. Like, this isn't hard. What do you mean you struggle with this?
Yeah, that's really fascinating because, you start as a teacher. To me, it's like, oh, that's so obvious, right? But sometimes we have to do the things to figure out what the obvious thing actually is, right? And that's a really, I applaud you for figuring that out and trusting yourself enough to figure it out. But on top of that, I applaud you for asking the difficult questions. Most people, if they are stuck, they say, oh, it isn't working. I need to go to completely something new. What you did was you went to the people that you've built the relationships with, the people that you've invested your money with, and said, look, I have the relationship. What do you need, right? What am I good at? And you combine them. These are 2 questions that I asked myself when writing my first book. And when I tell other people, it's like, what do you know and how can you help? And sometimes we can use the feedback of others to help us get to that point. And so that is incredible. So now you're like, okay, I can do curriculum all day long. And people are telling you they need it. So did you just say, all right, I'm going to build a course on it? Or did you start to do it for them to build out your process for this? How did now that come to be, the business that you run today?
Yeah, I realized the big gap was done for you. There's a million courses on how to build a course, or I shouldn't say how to build products. The courses out there are really on how to sell and market your course, not so much on how to really build an outstanding learning experience. But there's virtually no one out there that actually, like, much like a ghostwriter for a book, right? They mine the brain of the expert and they create a learning experience. And it's such a big challenge. So many people struggle with it. I had no idea. And so now that's what we do. And I often get asked the question, well, why don't you just like build a course on how to create courses? And I'm always like, it's because it's a completely different business, right? Like, I have an agency, I run an agency. Running a course, completely different marketing, completely different sales. Like, you think like, oh, it's the same, it's just a tier down, but dude, it's not. Like, if you really want to scale something, like you really want to scale a course, you're not a coach anymore, you're not an author anymore, now you're a digital marketer. So unless you have the money, the bandwidth, whatever it is to get someone else to take care of that, then you just become a digital marketer. You're not a coach anymore. Does that make sense?
Wow. No, it really does. It really does make sense. Now, let me ask you this though, and I'm curious because, you mentioned something that was intriguing to me. Most people are building, the course on how to build a course is really how to sell and market a course. It's not how to create a great learning experience. So what makes a great learning experience for people in the online world? Like, what do people actually look for? And how do we, as the creator or the person behind the program, how are we supposed to convey that message to create a great learning experience?
If you think about digital products and you think about today's TikTok world, right? That's really the lens you need to put on creating your content. So people are looking for short, they're looking for actionable, they're looking for the swipe files, the resources, the templates, right? It's like any way that you can save them time, you can decrease the time and effort it's going to take for them to get a result. That's what they want. So gone are the days with hour-long trainings, and in are the days where it's a 5-minute training with a 2-minute action step with a swipe file. Right. So out of everything, like, there's a lot that goes into really good learning experiences, but like, that's the biggest thing right now.
So the biggest thing, just to make sure I'm hearing you correctly, is it's not about how long you're speaking or teaching in the content. It's about, what's the shortest amount of time that you can say the most effective thing to get the reader the answer?
Yeah. So if you think about it as an expert, you have 100 files in your brain. right? You have a PhD, but you might be teaching someone in kindergarten. So you got to think about what are of those 100 files, what are the 10 to 15 that they actually need? And then what's the right order and sequence to put them in? And then the rest of it, you have to just let it go. The fact that all of your knowledge isn't in the course is what you want. You won't probably only want 10 to 15% of your brain in the course.
So does that, okay, so let's talk about this though, because if you're saying 10 to 15%, is this for a course that encompasses a very specific result? Is this for a course that's at a specific price point, right? Because different price points, different results are worth more or can take up certain amount of space in someone's brain, right? Mm-hmm. So can you break down the different types of courses or the different price points and what should be included in each?
Yeah, so there's a few types of courses. The first one is what I call like the encyclopedia, which is the catch-all. Okay, so it's like got everything that you could possibly know about this one topic. So a lot of people in your world might be familiar with James Wedmore, Business by Design, which is his program, which is everything you would ever need to know about launching, like webinar launches, challenge launches, like any kind of launch you want to do, he knows how to do it. Okay, so that would be an example of an encyclopedia course. Now, the price points are kind of depending on what the market will be able to bear. I mean, you can set a price point and then find the offer to match the price point. Like, it's kind of hard to say. It's also like how much support is going into this. Is this an encyclopedia program where they have, 6 months one-on-one access to you? Do they have group coaching? Do they just have a Facebook group? Like all of those kind of factor into the price. It's really the offer that matches the price, not necessarily the content. Mm-hmm. So that's an encyclopedia course. Another kind is like this typical step-by-step. So you have to kind of take each step to get there. If there's 7 modules, you have to do all 7 modules really to get the result. And then the third one I call like the quick fix, which is there's lots of different ways to get the result inside of the program. Maybe you only have to take 10% of the program and you get the result. So like example of that, I did an email marketing program recently. I didn't watch a single video. Like I probably look like a horrible student to her, but I took the swipe files and I got the rise in click rates that I was looking for.
Okay.
So
okay,
it's kind of like that's more of a quick fix than I didn't have to take all of these steps to get the big result. It's like, boom, I got it.
Okay, this is really interesting. And for everyone who's listening, I think this is a big thing to consider here is the course is purely just a part of the offer. Okay. Now, could the offer be just the course? Yes, it could very well be that. And then you take out pieces of the course to create your bonuses, to add the increased value, right? That's where your templates, your swipe files, and the video content. But it could also be part of, let's say, a group coaching program. The course is the video modules, the templates, the handouts, all that. But then on top of the course, they get the coaching support. They get the email access or whatever you do, the monthly office hours, the guest speakers, whatever. So what you're talking about here is really focusing on creating the best learning experience from the version of the course. And everyone needs to figure out where does that fit into the offer that they're trying to actually sell to the marketplace. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, this is amazing. So if you don't mind, I want to kind of shoot some course questions at you that might give people more understanding if they're thinking about taking their book and turning it into a course or writing a book based on their course or whatever it is. So what are your favorite softwares to build a course?
It depends on what the business needs. Okay, so I'm not affiliated. Well, I am affiliated with Kajabi because that's where I am at. But I don't sway people just to Kajabi because I'm an affiliate, which is something you really need to watch out for. People will say that there is the best because they're an affiliate there and it's actually not the best for you. So a pet peeve. It's a hot button topic for me. So we've got Kajabi is really great, all in one. If you're looking for gamification specifically, which is going to be really hot next year, look at Experientify. That's with an X, Experientify. Also, School has some gamification. And School is Sam Oven's new software that his new learning management system he came out with. And then like if you're really basic beginner, just want to get started, a Thinkific or a Teachable is a basic all that you need. kind of.
Okay, this is so good. Explain gamification. I'm a huge gamification guy. We've done it in a variety of different ways, but for someone who maybe isn't familiar of how they can gamify a learning experience, can you elaborate on that a little bit more?
Yeah, and I'd love to hear what you're doing because now I'm intrigued. But gamification to me is just the easiest way to explain it. Think about a video game. When you're in a video game, there's certain levels to the game. You want to progress through the game. It's hitting your dopamine all the time with like, you get the points, you hit the star, you beat the boss, whatever it is. And so when you think about your program, it's like, all right, well, what are the behaviors and the results that you want people to continue to do, or the results that you want them to get once or many times? And then how can you reward them for getting those things?
Yeah.
So
how do you get buy-in on that?
From who?
From the people in the course, right? Because there's, and I know you're going to say more, but I had to interrupt there for a second, is I know that people will, say, oh, you unlock these things. But we know with courses, most people actually don't even finish it or don't even get close to finishing their courses. So how do you get people to get to those 20% markers, 30% markers, 5-week bonus of consistent show up, or whatever the metrics are that you're using to define success in your program? How do we get that buy-in so that people are excited for the gamification?
Part of it is like social proof, like FOMO, like actively engaging FOMO, because when they see that this other person got that literal trophy in the mail, or when this person, when the expert shares this person's celebration on Instagram, or, you just start to think about what are the different needs that people have, and then how can you showcase other people getting those needs met in some kind of social setting, whether it be the group program, online on the internet, etc. I mean, that's the first, there's a lot of ways to do it, but that's the first thing that comes to mind that most of my clients use.
Okay, now go back to what you were going to say before I interrupted with my so excited of a question, if you remember.
I don't remember. But
okay.
all this is to say is gamification, it can look like using a platform that gets all the bells and dings and whistles and people earn points and put it towards things and all these things. And it can be as simple as when they, like, we recently did a podcasting program. We had a lot of gamification with her. And so once they launch their podcast, which is kind of the whole point of them being in this program, they submit a Google form and they have a series of celebrations, things sent to them, swag, etc., that come as a result of what they share in that form.
Yep. It's so good. I mean, I love gamification. I mean, I'm a sports nut. I'm a competitor. I love games. I used to play sport video games and just trying to get your guy to that next tier, that next level, that Hall of Fame status. That was so fun. And that kept you coming back, right? One of the ways that we do it actually in our program is, and we're experimenting with like what works, what doesn't, how to automate it, how to do these different things. But one of the things that we do is once people hit a certain point in our program, I don't want to give too much away, but once people hit a certain point of our program, we actually send them a copy of a past client's book. Okay, so it's like, hey, I'll just say it. It's like, hey, you finished writing your rough draft of your book. You've unlocked what your future holds in the next couple of months to have a finished product. Mm-hmm. Then once you finish your book with us, we actually become one of your first bulk order customers. And so we actually buy books from our clients. It's typically one of their first like larger purchases of multiple books, rather than just on Amazon. And then those are the books that then go back into it for our other clients. So it's a double whammy. It's, hey, we get to give books to our clients, but then we also get to support our authors and, literally exchange that money for what they've produced. We have a couple other things that we do and a couple of things that we're going to be implementing in the new year, but those things get people really excited because when somebody could be like, you mentioned social proof, when someone can actually see someone else who just went through your program have these results. And in our case, you go through our program, you have an actual book, like it's in your hand. And someone gets to see, hey, they were where you were 3 months ago. Mm-hmm. They were right where you were 3 months ago. And now you are holding their book in your hand. You could do this, mm-hmm. right? It becomes much more believable. So I'm a nut for gamification. All right. But now we only got a couple minutes left. So I want to shift into the future. I want to shift into the future for the last couple minutes. What are some of the things you mentioned? Gamification could become a trend in 2023 that we'll see. what else do you see when it comes to online business, courses, or what do you see potentially happening in this space?
Yes, gamification. And I also think events are not going to slow down. I think events are going to speed up. I think 2024 events might slow down, but I think spring, even into fall of next year, people are still going to be on this events high horse, which is, I think, great. And I think that people, in terms of like physical, or not physical, but digital products, people are looking for more community now than ever, because with, the big R word, recession, hanging about, our messaging is going from, grow your business to save your business. And what do we want during those times? We want community, and we want people who have our back. So I think more intentionally connecting community to programs and connecting community to events is going to be really big. And when I say community, I don't mean that Facebook group that you have that nobody ever posts in.
Right? Yeah. I love that. I love that. Yeah, I mean, the Facebook thing is so true. It's like I'm looking to, in the new year, change that kind of aspect, because like nobody really wants to be in another Facebook group anymore. Sure, are they still very practical and can they work for what they need to do? Yes. But there's other ways to really establish that community, which I think is really, really interesting. And on top of that, you mentioned the live events. I think what you said about live events mixed with community is where I see everything going, which is the large events I think are going to be amazing because people are still yearning for that connection. But where I see it being really successful are the events that are either smaller or the events that are larger, but having more breakout rooms and opportunity for people to really connect with, so that they're not just walking away from all the big name experts, they're walking away with new friendships that will actually say, hey, you can get through this. We could do this together. And that's like why we're doing an event in March that's 20 people max. Because I want every person to know every person in that room, so that they have now 19 other people to support each other and connect with each other. So I agree with you on these trends a lot. And I think you said some really great stuff there. Wow. Do you have anything else to add on that?
Well, when it comes to course platforms, to bring that around, if you have a product and you're really concerned about community, check out Mighty Networks.
Okay, so you like Mighty Networks. What about Circle? I like Circle. I have some friends there, and so I'm curious how you compare the two.
I mean, they're very similar. I've never done like training on Circle. I've only been a part of communities on Circle. So I can't speak to it because I don't know.
Yeah.
But I really like the fact that in Mighty Networks, you can see, oh, this is all of the digital products they have available. This is the one that I have. These are the ones that are locked because I don't have them. And, kind of, you can see your options. Whereas in Circle, like I said, I've only seen it from the perspective of like a community with threads and forums, which is great.
Yeah.
But the content element just isn't quite, I haven't seen it synced. It might be.
Yeah. No, interesting. All right. So my final big question. All right. This kind of brings everything together about your journey, courses, and it comes down to this. It's a two-parter. Okay.
Okay.
What is the big difference between done with you and done for you in terms of either your business or in terms of people creating courses? And part two of that is how or when should people know the timing to build a course or to hire someone to do it for them?
So I'll speak from our business. Done for you versus done with you. Curious if it's the same for you guys. Done for you is very much like a ghostwriting experience where we meet with our experts for an hour a week and they review for about an hour a week what we produce, and then they go film it. And we can help with filming and production in different ways, but that's done for you. Done with you is the opposite. So we teach them how to create really great lessons, and then they go write it and it comes back to us. So for done for you, we're really the writers. For done with you, we're really the editors. Okay. So that's the main difference between the two. And the best time to reach out is when you start to notice that you are maxed out at 101 whether you are a coach, consultant, or, if you're a speaker and you're doing a bunch of keynotes and you're just like, I don't want to keep traveling, I don't want to keep doing this. And if, or, you're an author and you're at a point where you also have these one-on-one clients attached to the book and you're capped, you're at capacity. The only way to scale that message is with some kind of group offering. Well, one of the ways to scale. One of the main ways to scale is with a group offering, whether it be a DIY done with you course, different kinds of things.
So good. What a way to wrap it up. What a way to wrap it up. All right. How do we learn more about you? How do we follow you? How do we hear more about your offers? Where do we go?
Come say hey on Instagram. It's just my name, Jasmine Jonte. You can find my website, jasminejonte.com also. But the fastest way to get in front of me is Instagram. That's where I hang out.
There you go. There you go, everybody. Jasmine Jonte in the house. Look, if you have questions about course creation and you want an expert, check out Jasmine. I mean, that is what she is very, very good at. And, we've only known each other for a short time, but in the time that we have known each other, she has lived up to the hype that I mentioned at the beginning. And now at the end of this, however long it's been that we've been on this conversation. And so I encourage you that if you're thinking about a course in the new year, if you're thinking about doing something, check out her stuff, see what she's got to offer, and build the course, because you have a message that needs to be heard, right? And if you've written a book, a course is a great way to complement your book. If you already have a course or you've worked with Jasmine, you already have the outline for your book, and that's where we can help you out there. So I really think this is awesome. Jasmine, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate you joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome. All right, everybody, you know what to do. Go check out Jasmine. Go check out the feed, the post, the Instagram, all the good jazz. And we will see you on the next one.